Welcome to the deep dive. We take source material, find the nuggets of knowledge, and basically make you instantly more informed. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating book, one that definitely challenges how most of us think about money. We're unpacking Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. Now, this isn't just another, dry finance book. It comes from a specific time, published back in 2012. Think about it, that was right after the 2008 financial crisis. Economies were, well, struggling, and governments were really looking for ways to spur growth, right? Especially encouraging entrepreneurship and investment, often using tax policies to do it.
Yeah, and what's really interesting here is how Wheelwright frames it. I mean, he's a CPA, decades of experience, connected to Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Advisors. He doesn't just lay out what taxes are. His whole point is to shift your perspective, to show you how taxes can actually be a tool for creating wealth.
A tool, that's a big shift.
It's a complete reframing. Most of us just see taxes as, this burden we have to pay.
Right, an unavoidable expense you just sort of grit your teeth and pay. The idea of tax-free wealth itself sounds, well, maybe too good to be true, or even a bit shady. How does he handle that skepticism?
He tackles it directly. He argues the tax code isn't just about collecting money for the government. It's actually designed as a system of incentives. Think about it. Governments want certain economic activity. They want job creation, investment in certain sectors.
Okay.
So they build tax breaks into the system to encourage those things.
Yeah.
Wheelwright's point is, if you understand these incentives and align your finances with them, you're not like cheating the system. You're actually doing what the system intends for you to do. You're playing by the rules.
So the big question we're exploring in this deep dive is, what if taxes aren't just this thing you have to pay, but something you can strategically use to build wealth? Hopefully, by the end of this, you'll get some practical insights and maybe, just maybe, a totally new mindset on how to view the tax code and use it for your financial future.
It's about understanding the game, not just paying the entrance fee.
So, if the government wants us to do certain things, how do they actually incentivize that? Wheelwright kind of pulls back the curtain, doesn't he?
He really does. He shows these specific areas where the tax code becomes, well, almost an ally.
And he says proactive tax planning isn't just a good idea, it's essential. It's not about that April 15th scramble.
Exactly. It's about foresight, continuous planning, making tax strategy part of every big financial decision you make throughout the year, not an afterthought.
And he gives real examples of how this leads to savings.
Oh yeah, concrete examples. He structures the book around these key areas where the incentives are strongest.
Okay, let's dig into some of those. First off, he highlights real estate, says it's a prime investment because of the tax advantages. He talks a lot about depreciation, right? How that can lower your taxable income, even if the property value is going up. Can you walk us through how that might work?
Sure. Okay, imagine you buy a rental property, say $500,000. Now, even if that property is increasing in market value, the IRS lets you claim depreciation. It's basically a paper loss, assuming the building itself wears out over time. For a residential place, it's usually over 27.5 years.
Okay.
So maybe you deduct, I don't know, $15,000, $20,000 a year as depreciation for decades. This deduction offsets your rental income. And for some people, like qualified real estate pros, it can even offset their regular job income. So you get this tax shield while your actual asset is potentially growing in value.
So you're getting a tax break for something that's actually making you money. That definitely feels backwards to how most people think.
Exactly. And he goes deeper. There's a whole chapter on depreciation and cost segregation.
Cost segregation, what's that?
It's a strategy where you identify parts of the property, think plumbing, flooring, landscaping, electrical systems, and you depreciate those parts faster, like over 5, 7, or 15 years, instead of the standard 27.5 or 39 for the whole building.
So you get the write-offs much sooner.
Precisely. It accelerates the deductions, boosts your cash flow way faster than just standard depreciation. It's about knowing these specific tools exist and using them. Puts money back in your pocket sooner.
That sounds like a powerful accelerator. What other big areas does he point to for these tax advantages?
Well, a big one is owning a business. He frames it not just as, being your own boss, but as a really strategic move for tax purposes. When you run a business, you can deduct legitimate business expenses in ways an employee just can't.
Right, like your commute or part of your home office, maybe?
Exactly, things like that. Plus, business travel, supplies, certain meals, the list goes on. And you can access various tax credits. He argues it makes entrepreneurship incredibly attractive purely from a tax angle.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Are there specific ways to structure the business he recommends?
Yeah, he talks about things like forming LLCs, limited liability companies, or S Corp. An LLC gives you liability protection. It's flexible, can be taxed in different ways.
Yeah.
An S Corp lets profits and losses pass through to your personal income, avoiding corporate tax rates, and potentially lowering self-employment taxes too. These structures just unlock advantages you don't get as an individual or sole proprietor without that formal entity.
So it's not just what you do, but how you set it up legally. Okay. What about things beyond real estate and owning a business?
Oh yeah, it's not just about the huge investments. He definitely covers using retirement accounts wisely. Things like 401k, IRAs, both traditional and Roth, how they let you defer taxes on the growth or contribute after tax for tax-free withdrawals later.
Right, fostering that long-term growth.
Exactly. And understanding the difference, like when a Roth makes more sense versus a traditional,
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on your income now versus what you expect later, that's crucial planning.
And maybe the most intriguing bit, strategies for actually generating tax-free income. That sounds like something only available to, the super rich.
Well, he shows it's not about illegal stuff or hiding money. It's about using specific legal provisions already in the tax code. For instance, municipal bonds. The interest is often free from federal tax, sometimes state and local too.
Yeah.
That income just doesn't hit your taxable income line
Okay.
or the capital gains exclusion when you sell your main home. If you meet the rules, you can keep up to $250,000 or $500,000 if married, completely tax-free profit.
Wow, okay.
And he mentions things like certain energy tax credits or other investment incentives the government offers. You invest where they want investment, you get tax benefits, sometimes making the return effectively tax-free.
So pulling this all together, Wheelwright's main argument is this massive paradigm shift, isn't it? Taxes aren't just a burden, they're a strategic tool.
Absolutely.
Chapters like Why the Rich Pay Less in Taxes or the Tax-Free Roadmap, they're trying to teach you this sort of hidden financial language.
That's a great way to put it. And importantly, he really emphasizes staying compliant and ethical. This isn't about being shady. It's about aggressive, but completely legal tax strategies. You're playing by the rules, but playing intelligently with integrity.
But the rules change, right? Tax laws aren't static.
Exactly. That's a huge point he makes. Continuous learning and adaptation are vital. This isn't something you figure out once and you're done. It's an ongoing process of staying informed and adjusting your strategy as laws evolve.
That sounds, well, kind of overwhelming. Keeping up with tax law changes. How do you manage that?
That's where his strong advice comes in. Work with a knowledgeable tax advisor. But not just any advisor. Someone who specializes in proactive planning, not just filling out forms after the year is over.
Okay, someone who's thinking ahead with you.
Right. They can spot opportunities, navigate the complexities, tailor strategies to you. It's about combining your understanding with their expertise. They're like your co-pilot.
So, beyond the nuts and bolts, the strategies, there's some deeper themes here in tax-free wealth. It really feels like Wheelwright wants a fundamental mindset shift, doesn't he? Moving from seeing taxes as an obligation to seeing them as a path to empowerment.
Exactly. He even uses this metaphor of a tax-free wealth journey.
Yeah.
He guides you through the common myths and breaks them down. The way the book progresses, it kind of mirrors how your own understanding might evolve, from the basics to more sophisticated stuff. And it hammers home that mastering this is an ongoing process. It's not a quick fix, but the benefits can be substantial.
So what's the takeaway for everyone listening, no matter their current financial situation? Is there a universal message here?
I think so. The core idea of financial education and proactive tax planning that's relevant everywhere, right? We live in this global economy. Regulations impact everyone's finances. So viewing taxes as a potential tool, not just a cost, that has pretty universal appeal.
It makes sense.
And it helps distinguish this book, too. You have books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which are great for broad financial literacy. Wheelwright zooms in specifically on tax planning as this really powerful, actionable lever you can pull for financial success. He's saying, okay, you want financial freedom. Here's one specific critical area you need to master.
It's not just what you earn.
It's what you keep. That's the game.
Okay, let's get really practical then. How can you actually apply these insights from tax-free wealth? It sounds like it's full of actionable stuff.
Oh, definitely. It's not just philosophy. He gives concrete techniques. We talked about structuring businesses, forming those LLCs or S Corp to get access to advantages you wouldn't otherwise have.
Right.
He talks about investing in tax-advantaged assets, obviously real estate, but also things like renewable energy projects that might offer specific credits or deductions. Basically, putting your money where the government provides incentives.
And always, that advisor piece.
Absolutely. The ongoing collaboration with a tax advisor who gets this proactive approach, someone to help tailor it all to your specific situation, because everyone's different.
So what does this look like day to day or month to month? Is there a recommended practice?
Well, he really pushes for a disciplined approach to your finances overall. Meticulous record keeping throughout the year.
Not just stuffing receipts in a shoebox until tax season.
Exactly. Having that clear, real-time picture. That's the foundation that allows you to plan proactively.
Makes sense. So you're building this ongoing financial story, not just doing archaeology in April.
Yeah, precisely. And having regular check-ins with your advisor. Not just once a year. They can help you spot deductions or credits you'd likely miss otherwise. But maybe the biggest shift is making tax planning part of every single major financial decision.
How so?
Like when you're thinking about buying an asset, starting a venture, making a big investment. The first question shouldn't just be, what's the potential return? It should also be, what are the tax implications? Are there tax benefits here? It becomes a filter, a crucial one.
The book doesn't have homework assignments per se, but it sounds like it really pushes you to reflect.
It does. It prompts you constantly. Look at your goals. Now, how can smart tax planning help you get there faster? It's about really analyzing how the current tax laws apply to your life, your business, and spotting where you can optimize within those rules.
And the examples he uses help make that concrete.
Yeah, the real-world examples are key. They show, okay, here's a business owner who restructured this way and saved X. Here's an investor who chose this asset for these tax reasons. They're like mini case studies showing it's not just theory, it's a practical blueprint.
Okay, so let's boil it down. The biggest takeaways from tax-free wealth. What's the absolute core message?
I think the core paradigm shift is, stop seeing taxes as just money down the drain. See them as a strategic tool. The tax code is basically a set of government incentives. Understand them, align with them, and you can legally, ethically reduce what you owe and build wealth faster.
Right. Play smarter within the existing rules and the practical lessons.
Seems like three main pillars. One, continuous education on tax law. You have to stay informed. Two, making strategic investments, especially in areas the code favors, like real estate and business ownership. And three, adopting that proactive tax planning mindset. Always thinking ahead, not just reacting at year end. And working with pros who think that way too.
It really feels like the book's goal is empowerment, taking control, moving beyond just compliance to actually leveraging the system.
Yeah, it fosters a deeper kind of financial literacy. It turns something most people dread into, well, an opportunity.
Who would you say this book is really for?
Honestly, anyone looking to be smarter with their money. But especially entrepreneurs, small business owners, people in the gig economy, or really anyone who's just genuinely curious about how wealth is built and protected, particularly how savvy people use the tax system to their advantage.
It definitely challenges that default passive approach to taxes most of us have. It pushes for being informed, strategic, proactive. But that does raise a final question, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Wheelwright focuses entirely on legal strategies. He stresses compliance. But where do you draw the line personally between smart, aggressive, legal tax planning and what feels ethically right to you? It's a powerful tool, he describes, his understanding of the tax code. But like any tool, how you choose to wield it matters, something to consider.